Hey, we're Becky and Chris, and today we're going to show you how to use speed ramps in Adobe Premiere Pro. As an elder Premiere user, I actually remember speed ramps from back in the days of skateboard videos. And a speed ramp is a tool that changes the clip speed, but you can go from, say, 100% regular motion, and then you can transition smoothly into either fast motion or slow motion, and then transition back to regular motion. And it's all done smoothly, hence the speed ramp. Slow it down and then back to regular motion.
Okay. Adding speed ramps to your footage can also make your videos a lot more engaging and interesting. It can kind of change up the feel of your video. And I like to use it on drone shots or transitioning from clip to clip. And it's also really great for product showcases as well. And then also I'm gonna show you how to make it a little bit more interesting by adding motion blur to that speed ramp.
Oh, that's new since 2001.
First, you're gonna obviously import your footage and navigate to the sequence where you want to apply that speed ramp. So I have a clip down here in my timeline ready to go. Quick tip, you're gonna wanna make sure that your clip already has motion in it or this isn't really going to work. So we're gonna look at this rotating drone shot in this example. With the clip selected, we're going to option click or right click on your mouse on this FX icon. We're gonna come down to time remapping and then click speed. After enabling time remapping, you'll see this line that's going through the clip, and this line represents clip speed. You're gonna wanna find on your footage where you want that speed ramp to start. I want my clip to start off regular motion, then go fast, and then come back into that regular motion. I'm just going to start maybe right here. With time remapping turned on, I can command click on this line. You'll see that an arrow with a little plus sign comes up. If we click on that line, it creates a keyframe. So then I'm gonna zoom out by using minus on my keyboard, and then I'm gonna scrub through my drone clip and find a place that I want to stop. So I think right about here might look okay. So again, we're going to command click to make another keyframe. With the two keyframes set, you can now adjust the speed between them. So you can click and drag the line segment between the keyframes up or down to increase or decrease the speed. If we play it back, we can see the transition from normal speed to fast speed is really abrupt. So if we click and drag our keyframe, we can kind of ramp into that speed increase. And so you can see that looks a little bit better now. We can do the same thing on the other end. And then if we pull on these nodal points, you can see that actually changes the curve. And that's gonna help smooth the transition in and out of our speed ramp. So I'm just gonna soften that up a little bit on both ends. We're just gonna adjust our keyframes until we like it. Just by playing this back, I can already tell that's not quite fast enough. So I'm just gonna jack that speed way, way up there. Okay, that's a bit better. Once you mess around with the keyframes a bit, preview the clip to make sure that you're getting the desired effect. So we have our little speed ramp here now, but it kind of doesn't look that realistic because there's no motion blurs. So to enhance the realism and the smoothness of the speed ramp, we're gonna add a motion blur effect to this. We're gonna need to put that on an adjustment layer. So to add an adjustment layer, we come down here to new item, come here to adjustment layer, click on it, and just make sure that our video settings match our sequence settings. They do, so I'm gonna hit okay. So the adjustment layer shows up in the bin here. So I'm just going to drag that into our timeline only over the part where our speed ramp is. Now, as you can see, the adjustment layer is a lot longer. We're gonna use C on our keyboard and we're going to cut the end of that off, select the part we don't want, and hit delete. And now we can use V on our keyboard to fine tune the placement of that adjustment layer. So we're gonna want it to start where our keyframe starts and then where our keyframe ends. So now that we have our adjustment layer placed, we're gonna add that motion blur. So we're gonna come over to effects, we're gonna search for directional blur, we're gonna click on that and drag that onto our adjustment layer. So if we come up to the effect controls panel, we can see that the directional blur is now added to our adjustment layer. So we're going to add keyframes now to keyframe in and out that blur. So the first thing we're gonna wanna do is select our blur length so we can get that blur going. So we'll start about 35. Now we want the direction of the blur to be going with the motion of the camera. So we're just going to change this until it's going side to side. So the blur length is what we're gonna actually be keyframing in and out. I'm gonna move my playhead to where my speed ramp starts, and I'm going to turn on keyframes for blur length. And then I'm going to move my playhead to where the end of my speed ramp ends. And then I'm going to add a keyframe here. And then I'm gonna come back to my beginning. I'm gonna add a keyframe here, but I'm actually gonna change that blur to 0. And then I'm gonna come back to the end, add another keyframe, change my blur to 0. And now we have a blur that fades from nothing to something as we start to ramp up. We can adjust that by just dragging the keyframes in and out, depending on how we like it and where we want that motion blur to kind of start. And I actually think that this still needs to be a little bit faster, so I'm going to make some adjustments here by adjusting my speed ramp and then coming up here and then adjusting my keyframes on my blur. You can use the arrows on your keyboard to move the playhead by 1 frame per click. And that's sometimes helpful to refine exact points in your edit. So now you can see that we have a little bit of blur on our time remapping. So you might notice a vignette around the clips here on the adjustment layer. So you're gonna have to zoom in slightly to get rid of this. It might make sense to shoot a little bit wider if you know you wanna use this technique in post. So in order to get rid of this vignette, what we'll do is select both the adjustment layer and the clip. We're gonna right click on our mouse and we're going to nest that sequence. And we can call that drone speed ramp so that we know when we nest the sequence, this is gonna show up as a separate sequence in your bin. And you can go ahead and open that later and edit the actual footage. So it's kind of a lossless type thing, but it shows up as a single clip in your timelines. Now what we can do is click on that nested sequence, come up here to the effect controls panel, scale, and then we'll just adjust that scale until the vignette goes away. And if we want to, we can actually go ahead and reframe this a little bit by adjusting the horizon and maybe even the position. And now we can render that out, have a look at it, see if we like it. You can also use speed ramps to transition between clip to clip, making a really dynamic and interesting sequence, especially when featuring a product.
So that is how you add dynamic speed ramps to your videos to really take them to the next level.
If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And that's it for us for this series. And we'll catch you on our channel, I guess. Bye.